And we'll do it live. We'll do it live. I need to turn my volume down here on my computer so it doesn't sound too scratchy. I'll try and sit back here a little bit. So sometimes my audio is a bit scratchy. So I'm going to sit back here. So check it out. This is a very important video that I'm going to bring to you today because you need this information, because you are being duped, you're being scammed, you're being tricked, you are being absolutely lied to 24/7 constantly by the US government, by every media channel that you listen to, whether it's left wing or right wing. And I'm here to bring you the truth because I worship the truth. That is what I worship. I worship the truth. The truth is the king here on the Brian Nato Show. That is what we worship. We worship the truth. And if Donald Trump worshiped the truth, he would not, he would do what was right. And what is right, just right now, I mean, being the president of the United States, one thing off the top of my head that you could think of that would be right would be to find out who blew up the World Trade Center and have them arrested, because they're all just sitting there. They're all just sitting there. I've got a viewer. Say hello. Please use the chat here to say hello if you can. I actually am interested in what you have to say because there's a lot to go over on this, and other people might have information that I don't have because I haven't done a deep dive on the subject, but I've just put my toe in the water. And what got me on this subject was when Elon Musk bought Twitter. Hey, good to see you. Good to see you. When Elon Musk bought Twitter a while ago, whenever that happened, I can't remember exactly the date, but when he bought Twitter, I had been allowed back on Twitter. And so I started to post on Twitter again, and I was allowed on there. So I was on there, I was communicating with people. And it just came to me, this idea that Elon Musk didn't buy Twitter, that Elon Musk didn't pay $50 billion for Twitter. Something just seemed not true about that. And I didn't have any facts or figures. I just didn't believe that that was really the case. And I just kind of thought that there must be something else to this, that there was something else to the ownership of Twitter that was not just Elon Musk has all this money and he can buy Twitter and he can buy all this stuff and he runs SpaceX and he runs Tesla and he's running all these high tech companies and it's all under him and he's some goofy autistic weirdo guy. Now, I'm not trying to say that everything he's doing is wrong. I don't think everything he's doing is wrong, although I'm not allowed on Twitter, okay? I'm not allowed to communicate on his platform called X, okay? Not only am I not allowed to communicate on X, but a bunch of people I'm associated with are not allowed to communicate on X. We've all been purged from X, and the purge has been happening since about December 25th, which is Christmas Day. So starting Christmas Day, I was purged the day after, so I was purged December 26th, the day after Christmas. I believe it was the 26th, but the purge started on Christmas. So on Christmas Day, Elon Musk starts purging everybody from Twitter. Everybody who's who. Everybody that's associated with the right wing or white nationalism or Christian nationalism in general, okay? And it's just been going on and on and on and on. And so all these people are being purged from Twitter. Now you could say, well, Elon Musk is a private individual and he owns a private company, and it's a private company, so they can do whatever they want. It's not a private company. It's not a private company. There's private investors, but it's not a private company. It's definitely not a private company. Private companies don't work for the NSA. Private companies don't work for the Pentagon, right? Private companies don't get funded by the Pentagon. That's not a private company. Well, yeah, it is a private company because it's owned by a private guy. Okay. Would it exist without the Pentagon? Would it exist without the NSA? No. So, but here's the other important point. So I started looking at, because I was thinking about this. Okay, so here's what happened. So back a long time ago, when I suspected, before I got banned from Twitter, when I just suspected that Elon Musk didn't own Twitter, like when I just started suspecting that all this stuff that they were telling me, that he paid $50 billion for Twitter and he's the super rich guy with all this unlimited money. He just has an unlimited bank account. When I went on Twitter and I posted this I posted on Twitter, I said, Elon Musk does not own Twitter. Elon Musk doesn't own SpaceX and Tesla. He doesn't run all these companies. what I got in response was very interesting because I was immediately hit with a like. It was a like. Yes, it was a like. So somebody liked my post, right? Now then you think, well, who liked it? So I went to see who liked it. And it said Elon Musk SpaceX. So my post, when I said that Elon Musk does not run SpaceX and does not run Tesla, I got a like immediately from Elon Musk SpaceX. But it wasn't Elon Musk's official account with his blue check mark. It was just another account, but it said Elon Musk SpaceX. And there's a bunch of Elon Musk SpaceX. But guess what? They're all run by X. Here's what I'm trying to tell you. X has a bunch of Elon Musk SpaceX accounts, and they're all run by X. Okay. And so when I said that Elon Musk doesn't run SpaceX, is what I think I think that's what I said. I think he doesn't own SpaceX. He doesn't run it. So I got a like from Elon Musk SpaceX, and it just said like. And I don't know if it commented or not. I think it was just a like or a follow. Maybe it was a follow. Maybe it was a follow that I got. Now, this is important because this explains how I got purged later. So I got this like or follow from Elon Musk SpaceX, but it wasn't the blue checkmark account. But it was still his because why would he allow, or it was still run by X because why would X allow somebody to have a parody account of him that's not him that's going around liking? Anyway, long story short, I just ignored it. And then what happened is I got a couple more of those when I criticized him again in the future. And I just ignored them, right? But then what happened was on December 26th, when I told Elon Musk, because this is the thing, I was on Elon Musk's timeline criticizing him, telling him he doesn't run SpaceX. And that's when I got that bot like, right? It was a bot. So it was like some kind of an AI bot. So then this last time when I was on X, I told him, I go, if you don't like American laws, if you want to bring in these H-1B people, then pack your bags and go to India, I told him. And I immediately got the bot. But this time I did something different, which was I blocked the bot. I had seen this AI bot before and I blocked it. And as soon as I blocked it, I got blocked and I got suspended. My whole account got suspended, claiming that I was a bot. You see, claiming that I was a bot. So I get hit with a bot and I block it. And then it says that I'm a bot and it suspends my account and I'm not allowed on Twitter. That's how it happened. And so now Twitter has been purging. Guess who? He's just purged all these guys. He's purging Australians. Australians aren't allowed on Twitter anymore. Now, so I'm listening to what's his name? The Clay Buck Sexton show, the Clay Travis Buck Sexton show, right? They filled the time slot for Rush Limbaugh. So I'm driving around, I'm listening to it, and they're going on and on about, Elon Musk saved free speech in America. And I'm sitting here going, I'm not allowed on Twitter. I'm not allowed to communicate on Twitter. And Elon Musk, as far as I can tell, well, I'm going to tell you who funds him, or I suspect it funds him. Well, it's the United Arab Emirates, Abu Dhabi. Basically, Twitter is owned by Abu Dhabi Arabs, and I'll go into that more. But that's where the money comes from to pay for all this stuff, and that's why you've got groups like the Reform Party UK. Who's Nigel Farage? He's funded by Arabs in Abu Dhabi. He's funded by Muslims. Mecca. He's funded by Mecca. The cube demon in Mecca. The Arab rapist that raped a 9-year-old. That the prophet that raped a 9-year-old in Arabia, that's who funds Nigel Farage. That's who owns Elon Musk and Twitter. That's who's putting up these billions and billions and billions of dollars to control the communication lines of Americans and Europeans and Australians. That's who's doing it. But it's not just the Arabs. It's the Arabs. It's a syndicate. And it's Mecca and it's Abu Dhabi in particular. Okay, and how did this network get set up? It got set up back in by Henry Kissinger, right? He got the Arabs back then to deposit their oil money into bank accounts in New York and in London. And that's how these banks have so much money, because the Arabs since the 1970s are bankrolling Chase Bank and the Bank of England and all these JP Morgan Chase, Bank of England, Wells Fargo, all these big banks out of New York, and all these banks get all this money, capital coming in from the UAE and from these Arabs through oil money. So that was the deal. That was the deal. When Henry Kissinger set this up, he said you got to monetize your oil in dollars, and then you have to, and then we want you to buy our and then you can keep your money, hold the money, buy the bonds. So it was 30-year time certificates, right? So you buy our bonds and hold them in our banks in New York and in London. But we're way past that now. That was just how it started, right? That's how the network started. It's the Arabs. That's why. Okay, look. Let me slow down here for a second. I know I'm going kind of fast. Yeah, how are you doing? Can you please what do you think is going on here? Give me a break for a second. What the hell is going on? I'm not allowed to talk on Twitter. Okay, I'm not allowed to talk on Twitter. Twitter is being systematically purged of basically Christians and white right-wing white nationalists. Those are the people being purged on Twitter. Christians and white nationalists. Okay. Now, yeah. So let's talk about Trump. It's a blessing to be kicked off of Twitter. You think so? Were you kicked off of Twitter? Just curious. I mean, to be kicked off of Twitter means you're saying something that's important. So all these people that go around like Sean Hannity, you don't go on there, okay? Sean Hannity, I was listening to Sean Hannity going on and on about Elon Musk. So I'm not saying that everything Elon Musk is doing is wrong or bad. I would probably be if I was in charge of the government, I would probably be doing a lot of these things myself. Here's the situation. Here's why I think the Trump administration was hijacked by, or MAGA. Why the deep state and the globalists said yes to MAGA and allowed Trump to become the president. Why did they do that? Here's why I think they did it. I think it has entirely to do with the U.S. military. I think it has everything to do with the U.S. military needing white people in the military. And they realized that they were going to lose everything. This is why I've been saying, since I've been on this channel for a while recently, is that your support of the U.S. military is the only leverage that you have. You don't have any other leverage. Your vote doesn't mean anything. The only leverage that you have is the support of the military. And what happened is they realized that support of the military by the white Americans had completely eroded, and they weren't going to get nearly enough people in there, and they were going to lose. They're going to lose to Russia. They're going to lose to China. They're going to lose everything. So now I'm not even saying that everything Trump is doing is wrong, because I think going to the Panama Canal and getting the Chinese out of there is a good thing to do. I would do the exact same thing. I would never have given the Panama Canal to China. So I'm not saying that everything that Trump is doing is wrong, and I'm not saying that everything Elon Musk is doing is wrong. What I'm saying is I'm being shut the hell up, and all of the people that got Trump elected from the beginning are all being cut out of this. We're all being expelled. We're all being purged, right? You have to understand something. That whether you like it or not, whether anybody likes it or not, whether it's good or bad or not, or whatever, the fact of the matter is how all of this started was on a website run by neo-Nazis. That's how it started. Making memes. And I'm sorry if you don't like this. I'm just telling you the truth. I'm just telling you what really happened. And maybe you think this is terrible, but this is how it started. Nick Fuentes, that's where he came from. The whole Groyper thing, that's where they came from. It was from the Daily Stormer. Andrew Anglin of the Daily Stormer. That was the only place we were everybody was meeting at the Daily Stormer. Okay. I'm sorry if that offends people, but that's the truth. And it's not that I'm saying that I'm not even a violent. I'm not saying that we should go after all these different races and hurt. I'm not saying anything. And I'm not saying we should hurt Jews. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm not even for hurting anybody. I'm just saying what happened. I'm just saying different people have perspectives on things, and and some people have certain perspectives. I think that there's certain people that are bigoted that I don't like. I don't like people that are just overtly bigoted and stupid. But but I mean, even Andrew Anglin, he doesn't even like that. Andrew Anglin was just funny. The whole thing was it was just supposed to be funny, but it was also explicitly for white people, right? That's what I'm trying to say. That website was just funny. It was just like a bunch of people joking around, but it was explicitly for white people, and we had all said "f off" to this whole operation of the whole. See, let's just slow down. I got to slow down. I just got to slow down here. I got to slow down. Here's the thing. Elon Musk I don't think he really owns X. I think X is sponsored by the UAE, which are Muslims. Okay. And I'll just say, because it's on my mind, if you believe in Jesus Christ the way I do, why would you go into some alliance with Muslims? Why would you have an alliance with Muslims? What for what? Why would you have an alliance? Why not just support your own people? Okay, no one's supporting our own people. Like I'm not even saying Trump is doing everything wrong. And he got elected on this idea of supporting your own people. That's what I'm trying to say about the Daily Stormer and the neo-Nazis. It was just let's start supporting our own people. Like for instance, there was a group called in Greece, right? It was called the Golden Dawn. It was like a right wing. They call them Social Nationalist Party, right? And they had a soup kit. They were calling it. They were going out and feeding the homeless people that were poor, that were Greeks. Why? Because the globalists bring all these people in from foreign countries. Who are the globalists? Well, they're backed by Arab states, number one. They're backed by a lot of Jewish organizations, and they're backed by the Jesuits also. So it's a mix of people, right, that are backing the bringing in of migrants into, for instance, in Greece. So the Greek people said, let's just help our own people. This is what I mean by neo-Nazism or whatever, right? Christians supporting their own race is called neo-Nazism, or whatever you want to call it. That's what everyone calls it. That's what the Anti-Defamation League calls it. So that's what I'm just saying. So the Golden Dawn Party was set up to help their own people. There was a news report about the Golden Dawn, and it was called the Soup Kitchen of Hate. The Soup Kitchen of Hate. Helping your own people is racist. Yes. Helping your own people is racist. That's the whole thing that we're all supposed to believe. Now, my belief is helping your own people is what you should do first, because that's who you're automatically obligated to help. It doesn't matter what race you are. If you're Vietnamese, you should help your own people first. And then, you know what I mean? Like those are the people you're obligated to help. So, but anyway, so in Greece, they had this thing where the Golden Dawn Party was the National Socialist right-wing neo-Nazi party, right? And so they were going out and feeding the homeless, and they're Christian, specifically Christian. Some of them may have been pagans, but they were Christian nationalist, Greek nationalist, Christian, ethno-nationalist party, right? The idea is we're Christians, we're going to help our own people first, right? We're all Greeks, and that was their thing. So it was called the media calls it the Soup Kitchen of Hate. Why? Because they're only giving the food to the Greeks. What about all these foreigners that came in? Well, this is what we're talking about. This is how all this started. This is why we backed Trump from day one. Now Trump has been embraced by the globalists, and he and Elon Musk, who scammed everybody, is purging us from being able to communicate. We're not supposed to ever be able to communicate. But we never spin that idea against them, those who are helping their own people. It is because we refuse to be petty. Yes. In fact, I like it when people help their own people, unless they're doing it at my expense. Like if you come to my country, and this is the thing that I've experienced my whole life living in California, is that they bring people, and by they, I mean the people connected to Washington, D.C., all these different groups they have, the Jewish groups and the Jesuit groups and and the Muslim groups. They bring foreigners in, and then they help them at my expense, right? Like I was born here, and I was born here as an American, thinking that this was given to me by my ancestors so that I could have a place to live and that I could have a job and that I would have resources to create a life for future generations, right? That was the promise. That's always the promise to every person, right? And then what happens is you have a government that's designed specifically to screw you over by bringing in a bunch of different foreign populations from all over the world, bringing them to where you live, and then subsidizing them and calling you the enemy and calling you a racist for not supporting it. That's been my experience as an American. Now, Trump is up here, and I like what Trump is doing. I don't want to trash Trump. He's trying to get this thing going, right? But then I'm just noticing things, okay? So he's got guys coming in from foreign. He's got a Japanese investor, for instance, and I like the Japanese. I have the Japanese people are beautiful. I go to this Japanese restaurant here locally, and it's just the sweetest, nicest people work there, and I just love them. And I always try and tip them, when I get in there as much as I can, and they're just great. But just think about macro vision here. You've got Trump is saying we're going to bring in Japanese investments. We're going to build these Japanese company, or we're going to bring investments in from some guy from the Middle East or North Africa, and he's going to invest 22 billion or whatever the number is, right? So I'm sitting here thinking to myself, why do we need a foreigner to invest their money in our country to produce things? Why? This is perplexing to me. Why do we need their money? Doesn't the US government produce money? I mean, look, just follow the reasoning here. Every dollar that's in a bank account of a foreigner in some foreign country is a US dollar produced by the Federal Reserve Bank, authorized by the US Congress. So why do we need their money to build a factory? Why do we need their money to build a factory? When our government's the one that produces the money and distributes the money, why do we need money from a foreign government or a foreign private business that's headquartered somewhere else? Why do we need them to build our factories to give us jobs? Secondly, who's going to do the jobs? Because when I see this mining group that's being built out in the Salton Sea, for instance, right? And it's being run through the governor's office with a company from Australia. And you look at the website, because I looked at it, I said, God, look, I mean, I do okay. I've got a business. I do okay. And I think I might even have a sponsor for this show pretty soon. But I'm thinking, oh, what if I just wanted to go get a job somewhere and work for somebody, right? And so I was looking at the Salton Sea thing. I'm like, well, they're going to put this big mining thing out there, and I'm interested in mining and geology. So I said, well, maybe I can go get a job there. Like, let's just take a look at it. So I look at the website, and it's an Australian company. So number one, it's not even an American company that's getting the mining rights to the Salton Sea. It's a company based in Australia. And then you say, well, who's going to do the work? Who are they going to hire to do the jobs? And you look on the website, and they hire non-whites and women to do all the jobs. And it's all run by some white guys in Australia. And you look at the board of directors of the governor board, and it's a white guy and a black guy and a woman and a brown woman, a black woman and a Chinese guy. See, it all has to be like that because this is their system. This is their system. And I never see, the thing is, that's their system, but that's not my system. And I never agreed to any of this. I never wanted any of this, and I don't want it. So the US government keeps imposing a form of government on me that I never wanted, that I never asked for, and isn't the original intent of the founding fathers of America. George Washington never said we have to be racially diverse and we have to, you know what I mean? Like, and we have to have women and all this kind of, like, I like women. I'm not a misogynist. I'm not Nick Fuentes. I don't go around hating women. I love women. I'm not a big fan of feminism, but I'm a big fan of women, and I'm a big fan of being respectful to women. But I don't want to get into all that stuff. I'm just saying the jobs aren't going to go to Americans anyway. So the investments coming from foreign countries, The jobs are going to there. I mean, there's no plan to have Americans get the jobs, right? Because now what America means, it could mean anybody. It could mean people that came in from a foreign country and now they got a little piece of paper that says they're an American. What does that do? All this stuff is just not important. Let's see what you have to say here. The financial interdependence formula requires partnerships, even if they seem to be entanglements. Yes, well, yes. So, and I don't buy into that interdependence. That's a word that was used definitely by Henry Kissinger when he set up the global system. Everything had to be interdependent, and then it does form all these entanglements because now we have to be in alliance with Arab Muslims. I don't want to be in an alliance with Muslims. Why should and so let's take a step back here and let's look at what Trump is doing with Gaza. Now Trump comes out the other day and he says, "We're going to take Gaza. We're going to run Gaza, and it's all going to be run by the U.S. military, and we're going to go clean it up." And then he wants to turn it into a resort for the Kushner Foundation or organization or whatever. The Trump organization is going to basically own Gaza. And the Israeli government likes this idea because Gaza. And they say who's going to live there? He's like, well, the people of the area. So it'll be the people that. It's not going to be. See, here's another thing that the Trump, Washington D.C., the Pentagon, Trump is going to do, and it has nothing to do with you as an American. See, it's not going to be for you. This is what I'm saying. None of this stuff is for us. Trump bringing investors in from Japan or from some other Middle Eastern, North African country, that's not for you. That's going to be for them. So what I'm saying is, if it were up to me, my form of government that I support would be putting Americans in charge of everything and giving them all the money and giving them all the resources to keep Americans going. That's all I would care. That's the primary thing I would care about. It's not that I don't care about anyone else. As an American, I want to keep my thing going, and I want to keep my race going and my culture going and our religion going. So I would want to keep our thing going. It's kind of like the mafia has this term, our thing. It's actually a very smart word, or not word, but phrase, our thing, right? This thing of Japanese investment and foreign investment and then bringing in workers from foreign countries, this is not my thing. It's not our thing as Americans. It's not for us. And as far as I can tell, the only reason why there's been this shift in with Pete Hegseth as the face of the Defense Department is because they need white men joining the military. Let's see what else you have to say here. Well, yeah, it's the created system we've been under. How do we actually unplug from that? Good question. I don't know. I think about it a lot. How do we actually unplug from that? I think about that every day. That's what I think about day after day after day after day. How do you actually get rid of a system like this that's so completely overwhelmingly entrenched into everything and has this much power? How do you do it? The only thing I can think of is that you have to say no to it personally, and that if I said no and you said no and everybody said no and everybody had an idea of what they actually wanted, then they would like work towards that thing. Like you'd have to actually know what you want. It's almost like you're born into it and everything's so confusing, and then you need a job and you're like, what do I go do? I'll just go work for this corporation. Then you get a mortgage, and then pretty soon you're lost into this thing and you've been dragged into, and you have no leverage over anything. And I think so. That's why I get back to this thing of the military. I think that the only leverage that white people in particular, or Christians in general, have in the United States is saying no to the support of the military. And I'm not against war for the right cause or for defending territory or anything like that. I'm for war or fighting or killing people for the wrong reason. The wrong reason. And I just see a lot of wrong reasons. Let's just go back to 9/11 for a second. Okay. Who blew up the World Trade Center on 9/11? It wasn't Iran. It wasn't Russia. It wasn't the people in Gaza. It wasn't the Hezbollah. So we know it wasn't them. We know it wasn't them. It wasn't we know. Okay, We know for sure that who blew up the World Trade Center. We know who didn't do it, right? We know for sure who didn't do it. We know it wasn't Hezbollah. We know it wasn't Iran. We know it wasn't Hamas, and it wasn't Russia. So we know it wasn't that group of people, for sure. Whoever else did it, we know it wasn't them. They had nothing to do with it. In fact, Russia even said, "We want to help you." At that time, and I think the Iranians actually offered help too. So we know it wasn't them. But then ever since then, we've been hearing how. Actually, no, anyway, I don't want to go into that whole story, but it wasn't them. Who did they tell us it was? They told us it was Al Qaeda, based in Saudi Arabia and Afghanistan. And then they set up this thing called the Carlyle Group, which was a military industrial complex banking merger that was based out of Abu Dhabi. Carlyle Group, UAE, Abu Dhabi, were the people that run Twitter. Right now, they own Twitter. They own Elon Musk. They own. They're in partnership with the Bank of England and J.P. Morgan Chase and the Federal Reserve and the whole thing, and the U.S. government and State Department. So when you look at, let's just take a look. A lot of people just like to focus only on the Jews and Israel and the state of Israel, which I don't know why it's called that, because I've read the Bible and Jesus Christ is the Lord. So I don't know why they would call it Israel when they don't worship Jesus Christ. But let's not get into that. I call it Yidishistan. But there's a syndicate. It's Mecca, the UAE, Mecca, the Jewish banking cartels that are tied to Israel and founded it, Rothschild Street in Israel. Rothschild is one of the official founders of the state of Israel, according to their history. And of course his family was in Europe, France, England, Germany. So Rothschild, Mecca, UAE, Abu Dhabi, and New York and Washington, D.C. That seems to be the network right there, with the Pope, of course, who's invested in all those. The Pope and the Vatican is invested in all those same things. They're all invested in the same stuff, which is why they're all on the same page. And that, of course, I guess would include Switzerland and the Davos Group. Hello, if you're joining us, we're talking about how Elon Musk and Twitter is actually owned by and funded by and sponsored by Arabs, Muslim Arabs in Abu Dhabi, and X is not really. Elon Musk doesn't own Twitter, and he doesn't own any of it. That's what we're talking about. So welcome to the show. It's kind of a fly by the seat of your pants show. But yeah, Elon Musk didn't buy Twitter, and Elon Musk doesn't own it. And I'm not allowed to talk on Twitter. And anyway, so here's what happened. Here's this girl. I'm listening to this. Here's kind of what got me into this subject. Here's a person who says that Elon Musk does not own the X trademark. I don't know how true this stuff is, because I've just kind of dipped my toe in the water. But I started suspecting this a while ago. But here's what this person has to say. Let me turn up my volume so you can hear this. It's just a short clip here.
Advertising agency services and advertising and marketing services, among other things. Clearly, X Corp, Elon Musk's company, is offering advertising and marketing services. They're offering it direct to the consumer or client. It's not an agency, but that doesn't matter. It's the same type of services that are being offered.
Let me play that for you again, so you hear it from the beginning.
So multiply.
Okay, multiply. Save this word in your brain. Multiply. Multiply is the name of a corporation based in Abu Dhabi by Arabs. And they're invested in all kinds of stuff with their Arab oil money. And what this person is saying, let me play this again. She's suggesting that Multiply owns the trademarks to X. Let me play this again. I don't know all the facts here. I've just started barely looking into this, but let me just rewind this for you.
So Multiply owns the trademark for these goods and services, advertising agency services, and advertising and marketing services, among other things. Clearly, X Corp, Elon Musk's company, is offering advertising and marketing services. They're offering it direct to the consumer or client. It's not an agency, but that doesn't matter. It's the same type of services that are being offered.
Okay.
So
So it says here, Elon Musk does not own the X trademark. Trademark ownership.
Multiply owns the
Okay.
trademark
Anyway,
for.
so she's saying that Multiply owns the trademark for X. I don't know if that's true, but that's starting to make sense. Okay. I don't know if it's true, but it's starting to make sense. And guess what? So let me put this into context for you. Okay. Arabs, Muslims in a foreign country own a communications platform that's marketed towards Americans and Washington, D.C., that cuts the communication lines of Americans. See, I'm not allowed to talk on their network that's owned, appears to be. I don't know this for a fact. I don't believe that Elon Musk owns any of this stuff. I think he's just like a goofy front man, and I think he's smart. And I'm not even saying that everything he's doing is wrong. I'm not saying that everything he's doing is wrong. I think that some of the things he's doing are correct for as far as like cleaning things up with waste, fraud, and abuse. I'm for that. I'm not allowed to talk on his platform. Neither are the guys in Australia who are the pro-white guys in Australia. They're all being purged. All the Nick Fuentes guys got purged. All the gripers, right? They're all being purged. Everyone gets purged. Guess who hasn't been purged? Alex Jones, who I like. I've been following Alex Jones I've been listening to Alex Jones since like the 2000s, right? He's like, so now Alex Jones is now owned basically by Elon. Like that's how he's staying afloat, right? That was his ace in the hole and of not getting bought out by these other people that try to take him down. So now it's almost like, and I've seen this the way they do this before. They come at you with legal harassment, right? On one side, they're harassing you legally and trying to throw you in prison and take all your money. And then on the other hand, some guy comes in who's connected to them. He's like, "Well, I'll help you." Now you're bought. Now you're owned because you have nothing to do. So it's like I don't know if that's the case, but I'm just saying it looks to me like Alex Jones basically works for Elon Musk now, and it looks like Elon Musk works for Arabs. He works for people will criticize me. It's like, how dare you say it's the Arabs? It's the Jews. I know all about the Jews. I don't need you to tell me about something I've been talking about since like the 1990s. Okay, I've known about the Jews for a long time, but I'm just saying there's a syndicate. There's a syndicate. It's called a syndicate. A syndicate is a group of different mafia groups all working together. It's called a syndicate. And part of that syndicate are the Mecca Abu Dhabi sector. They've got a lot of money. This is why Nigel Farage says that we have to work with the Muslims. We can't. That's what he said recently. I can't go through my computer and replay all this stuff for you. But Nigel Farage of the UKIP Reform UK Party says we have to work for the Muslims. Now, remember how Elon Musk, I was just listening to Nick Fuentes' show, which I don't listen to a lot, but once in a while I listen to his show. And he said something very important. He talked about how they had what was called the Southern strategy for the Republicans to get the votes of the South, right? To take them away from the Democrats by playing up the race card, right? Playing up the racism, the anti-black racism. And then getting the whites to vote for the white Republican guy. In other words, whiteface. This seems to be the whole operation that they've been running continually against white Americans since whatever. I don't know how far this goes back, before Clinton probably. But this is what they're doing. They're just playing up the anti-black racism to keep us under the existing order, which is primarily run by the Jewish mafia in America with the Jesuits and the Mecca syndicate. And so, but I'm trying to focus right now on Mecca and Abu Dhabi. And I'm saying, if you worship Jesus Christ, why would you want to be in alliance with Muslims? Why would you be in alliance with a group that says that Jesus Christ is an Arab prophet who worships the cube demon and is a follower of the prophet who had sex with a 9-year-old? Why would you be in that? That's so stupid. Now, if you're in that, that's none of my business because I'm not you. And I'm not here to control Arabs. Okay. I just, like I'm saying, I don't want to have anything to do with Arabs. I don't want to hurt Arabs. Like when I see the Arabs getting killed over in Gaza, I'm supporting their. I'm saying they should live. Okay, so I'm not here to hurt you. I'm saying I want nothing to do with your religion. Okay, Arabs, I want nothing to do with your Arab religion. I think your Arab religion should never have spread throughout the Middle East. It's not native to the Middle East. It's not original to the Middle East, and your language isn't original to most of the Middle East either. I mean, the Arabic language is a derivative of Akkadian. I'll put it that way. So I guess to that degree, it actually is. But it's not it was one dialect. But anyway, I don't want to go into that. I'm saying as an American, I don't want anything to do with Mecca. I don't. So here's my question: Why are we bankrolling? Why are we operating with these foreign people in Mecca or wherever instead of benefiting our own people? Trump is supposed to be doing that, but I don't see it happening. I see it happening on a small scale. So it's been a small improvement. So look, I voted for Trump 3 times. Okay. I voted for Trump in 2016. I backed Trump in 2015 before Alex Jones did, before Tucker Carlson did, before JD Vance did, or anybody in the government did. It was me and a bunch of people on a website called the Daily Stormer. We were the group that backed Donald Trump from the beginning. Okay. So I backed him then, and I backed him when he ran the second time when he actually won and he got robbed. And then I backed him again the third time because I wanted him to be the president because he was legitimately voted as president every single time. So now that he's finally there, I'm going to tell you that I am going to oppose him now. That's what I'm saying. I'm going to oppose him on the things that he's doing wrong because what it looks like to me is that Pete Hegseth gets up in there and literally gives a tongue bath to Benjamin Netanyahu. And Pete Hegseth, he's making a fool. It's like having Fox News run the government. Okay. Fox News is okay, but it's still kind of silly and stupid. And here's what it is. It's this whole center-right thing that was invented after World War II. I guess this is what it boils down to. Look, the center-right system was invented after World War II. By who? By a syndicate of the Jesuits and the Jewish mafia. Okay, that's who tried to assassinate Adolf Hitler in Germany. It was a group of socialists, progressives, and center-right conservatives that formed a cabal to try to assassinate Adolf Hitler. So that's the group that took over Germany afterwards. That's the group that runs Germany today. That's the group that runs European Union. That's the group that runs England and Washington, D.C. and Australia. The whole network is this center-right, center-left group. So what they've done is they've put themselves at the center. So you say, well, what's at the center? What is at the center? At the center isn't Americanism. Americanism was George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, Payne Adams, and the rest, who were Enlightenment age, and they were explicitly also white. So it was like they were setting up a country for white people where it didn't matter if you're what religious sect you were. We were all going to live together as white Americans, and we're going to have our own country, and we're going to get away from the sectarianism and the wars that were going on in Europe. We're going to start a new country, and that was the promise that actually got subverted. But that was the promise. But that's not what America is today. And that ended really with the Civil War in 1865 when the South lost. And I'm not for slavery, but that's the whole thing of the Civil War was created to bring in a new order. Out of the violence of the Civil War, they brought in a new order. And this new order is an international order. The Civil War was fought by bringing in people from Europe, Marxists, communists from Europe, to serve in the Union Army to fight the Americans in the South. What are they doing now? They're bringing in people they're bringing Elon Musk, right? And he's gonna run our communications, and he works for the NSA, right? In other words, this is the system they set up. It's not putting Americans at the center. It's putting some shadowy group, which I'm not going to talk about too much. It's shadowy group at the center, and they're the center. You get it? They're the center. Their race is the center. Their ideology is the center. Their religion is the center. Their ethnicity is the center. And as long as you conform to that, then you're on the right of them or the left of them, close to the center. So they're the center. It's not America. America, as you were taught to believe by your ancestors, is not what's at the center. In fact, they don't even want you to communicating, right? They'd rather do business with Mecca. They'd rather do business with Mecca. They'd rather do business. They'd rather have Arabs come in and run your communication system and sponsor it. And they'd rather have the Anti-Defamation League shut you up and call you names, because it's not America. None of it's America. So unless something's done about that, what is Trump really even doing other than empowering these exact same people that have been screwing us over this whole time? You look at his, you look at when he got elected. Who does he bring to his election party? Mark Zuckerberg, shut down your communications. Elon Musk, shut down my communications. All these, he's bringing all these people, Fox News, the center right and the center left. And I mean, I like RFK. The only politician I've ever donated money to in my entire life was Tulsi Gabbard. So that's how racist I am. Okay, I'm so racist that the only person I've ever donated money to a political campaign was a Hawaiian woman. Okay, so that's me, the big racist Nazi. Anyway, what do you guys think? What do you think is going on? Okay, so here's this thing. Here's this group, right? This group is called. So we heard about that group. It's called what was it called again? What did that lady call it? She called it Multiply. So I look up Multiply. Multiply is part of a group from the Royal Group. So the Royal Group is based in Abu Dhabi. Is part of the Sheikh Tahnoon bin Zayed Al Nahyan's business empire. The Royal Group, Multiply, X. I'm starting to see a connection, and I'm just barely looking into this, so I don't have all the information yet. But it says, what do we do? It says this is the IHCUAE business listed. Okay, so it says here they're into agriculture, food, education, energy resources, financial services management, healthcare and wellness. I bet you they're big investors in the what, healthcare and wellness. What does that tell you? Marine and dredging, media. There we go. Real estate, technology. Let's look at the media. So they're big investors in AI and media technology groups. Media. Our media businesses pioneer digital out-of-home advertising, particularly in the UAE, while offering comprehensive agency services. We're at the forefront of innovative advertising solutions, helping brands connect with their audience in impactful ways. Anyway, the Multiply Group, right? The Multiply Group. So, according to this person who I don't even know who this lady is. I just found this on Twitter. I found this on YouTube. She says that the X trademark is actually owned by the Multiply Group and that it's leased out to Elon Musk. I don't know if that's how it works. I don't know. I don't know. But I'm telling you what, it appears to me. So you say, well, how would it, if it's Arabs, why would the military allow that? Why would the military and the Pentagon allow Arabs to do all these things, right? That's the system we have, I guess. This is the system they've set up. Let's just take a look at the command channels of the US government. You've got the executive branch, right? So under the executive branch, you've got the Pentagon, the FBI, the DOJ, the CIA, the NSA, the US Treasury Department. What does the US Treasury Department do? The US Treasury Department issues buys Treasury bonds. Oh, wait, no, the US Treasury issues US Treasury bonds, right? The US Treasury issues a US Treasury bond for Federal Reserve notes. So they sell U.S. Treasury bonds for Federal Reserve notes. So boom, that's the crux of the financial system. The U.S. Treasury is under Donald J. Trump. Okay. So the entire financial system is under the executive branch. Okay. So what's under the executive branch? The U.S. Treasury Department, the CIA, the Pentagon, which includes every branch of the armed forces, and the NSA, which is the National Security Administration, which runs the internet, the whole technology sector of what do you have? Palantir, Nvidia, the AI, Google, right? Alphabet company. These are okay. Look, Alphabet, Palantir, Nvidia, Tesla, SpaceX. These are all corporate, public businesses, or some of them are private. I believe SpaceX is private, run by the NSA and the Pentagon. They're not independent. Okay, they're run by the Pentagon. So that means Elon Musk works for the Pentagon, which means Elon Musk has always worked for the president of the United States. That's his boss. It's not somebody else. It's not somebody else. He works for the Pentagon, and the Pentagon answers to the president of the United States. That's how that's set up, so that they all have to answer to him. So yeah, so now, and so they have a system of the Treasury Department. The Treasury Department issues bonds, and the Federal Reserve buys bonds, and the UAE, and this, you've got this whole financial system based on the U.S. dollar. And so I don't know. I'm not going to go through every aspect of it, but so they set up a global network. You've got Mecca, you've got the UAE, and you've got Europe. They bombed the shit out of Europe in World War I. They got us to all kill each other in Europe. And then they set up, and then in World War II, they had to do it again, and they killed even more people with bombs and fire bombs and exterminated everyone, so they could bring in the Federal Reserve System, so they could save the U.S. dollar at your expense, the expense of your race and your blood. That was replaced by the U.S. dollar and the multinational corporations. And so what did they do? LGBT, BLM, all the garbage, right? And then when that had finally failed, and they realized they were going to lose a war to Russia, they said, guess what? We need to do a 180, and we need to make the military white again, because we're going to lose. And what have I been saying to you? That the U.S. will never win another war. Why? Because the only reason we won World War II was because we had a large, white, young, healthy, strong white population of men that spanned all of America and Europe to build all of this weaponry and to build all of this technology and to actually go out there and deploy it. And that could never happen in today's age. And that's, I think, why they do it 180. I think I'm going to wrap this video up because I don't have much else to say unless you guys have anything you want to say. Yes, it's the Three Stooges in charge. Yeah. So anyway, I guess I should end off on a positive note. What do we actually do about it? Our leverage in this world is our agreement. That is our leverage, is our agreement. What do we agree to, and what do we not agree to? And we should not. What do you call it when you go against what you know to be better? Like when you go against your conscience, right? You know that you shouldn't really go along with this, or you know that this just isn't really 100% right. You say, well, I guess I'll make a concession on something that is probably really bad. We keep making concessions. And all these concession after concession after concession, has led us into literally the brink of the end of Western civilization. And so we need to stop making these concessions. We don't want an alliance with Islam. We don't want Islam involved in our governments. We don't need them. We don't want them. We don't need them. We don't want to make concessions with all this other stuff that we have going on. We don't want to concede to the we don't want to concede that two men, or I don't want to go into that stuff with the babies and the Scott Bassett baby snatcher, the Dave Rubin baby snatcher stuff. I don't want to talk about it. I want to think about it. I don't want you to have to hear about it. But that's a concession that no one who loves the purity of the truth of God's word would ever, and by that God's word, I mean the direct spoken word that God speaks to your conscience called the truth. Why would you ever concede to something so evil? Right? He's running around in the Trump administration, the baby snatcher. So we need to know we don't concede to any of these things. Stop conceding, stop agreeing, stop being lulled into these agreements to basically that's how it happened. Is just, I mean, it was outright war through drugging the population and promoting perversion and evil for decades to America and Europe that led to this. And every time we always conceded to go, well, I guess it's not so bad. Well, it is so bad. So let's stop doing it and let's change our minds. Let's start by changing our minds and dedicating our minds to the truth. And we'll start there and we'll just build on that. So hopefully that helps. Anyway, have a good night and see you next time. Take care.